Hello and thank you for joining us on the Monday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Ozubakun. Today on the program, federal government to restrict airlines from UK, Canada and Saudi Arabia in reciprocity over Omicron variant, as fully vaccinated South African President Cyril Ramaphosa tests positive for COVID-19. PDP National Chairman Iyorchia Ayu inherits 20 million naira cash, 290 million naira debts and crisis in 9 states. And later on the show, NFF sacks Kenneth Roy, appoints Austin Ogwaivoin interim Super Eagles technical advisor. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Gani Kaide Balogun, while Mia Akiri will join us later on Sports. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. If you do me, I do you is a popular parlance in Nigeria, which underlines the concept of reciprocity in international diplomacy. The federal government has concluded plans to restrict airlines from coming from Canada, United Kingdom and Saudi Arabia into Nigeria with effect from Tuesday, 14th of December. The Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, who announced the decision, explained that it is to reciprocate the restricted flight from Nigeria into those countries over the new Omicron variants of COVID-19. Meanwhile, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has tested positive to COVID-19 after exhibiting mild symptoms and is now in isolation despite having been fully vaccinated. Judy, somebody told me yesterday that okay, he's about to move out of the country and we need to take what they call, I've forgotten the name of that jab. Booster jab. That's the latest thing now. That's, yes, you've taken your, you've been fully vaccinated, but for Omicron, you need a booster jab.
The way this thing is, it is not even Omicron alone that people yield to, despite being fully vaccinated. Long before the Omicron variant happened on the scene, people who were fully vaccinated were being killed by COVID-19. People will be fully vaccinated and suddenly test positive. So, as I've said before, what the world served us was simply a vaccine that you could describe as fast food. The world was in a hurry to open up fully, for businesses to open up fully, and they didn't take their time to do these vaccines. It takes years and years of research to come up with the right vaccines. This is the fastest that it has taken the world to produce a vaccine. And we can see now that long after these vaccines were produced, we are seeing strains of COVID-19 that they did not factor their characteristics into the production of those vaccines. For example, the moment the Delta variant came up, scientists were saying that some of the symptoms that the Delta variant showed were not considered in coming up with those vaccines. Right now, yes, Omicron is present in 63 countries, but it is actually the Delta variant that is still harassing people.
It has not been proven that Omicron is
Omicron. There's not enough data to come up with a full understanding of Omicron. They are still trying to gather information about Omicron. But they've already alerted us that this Omicron will most likely defy the vaccine. So people should stop thinking that because they are vaccinated, that all of the measures, these biosafety measures that they ought to take seriously, that they can brush them aside. No, to do that is to put your life in jeopardy. You can be vaccinated up to 10 times and you will still yield to COVID-19. That is what we are seeing. I wish the world had waited, you know, but the economies of even the biggest countries of the world were collapsing. France went into recession. Spain, you know. So I'm not surprised that they all felt the need to quickly let's just roll out those vaccines. Let's roll out those vaccines. But we did not wait enough. We did not do enough due diligence before coming up with these vaccines, and that's why we are seeing this COVID-19, the Delta variant especially, defy vaccination. This president even got double doses. So if you got double doses and you still tested positive, then something is wrong. Something is seriously wrong. So that you are vaccinated does not mean that you should now be reckless.
Wow, GKB, is that something that when you look at within the country, you know, it's as if the level of awareness as at the time the Delta variant and everything, so a lot of things came down. It took down the campaign, and we faced our day-to-day problem. And you know, that is survival, the security, economy, and how you're going to survive. Right now, we might have to contend with trying to tell people you still need to maintain the non-pharmaceutical procedures. Interventions.
You are quite correct, but I think we are missing a point here. When the vaccine was introduced, it was clearly stated that this is just a stopgap until we trigger an herd immunity. That ultimately, throughout human history, we've been living with so many viruses and so many diseases that it was our herd immunity that ultimately will save us from the crisis. Don't forget that the Spanish flu killed over a lot of people 100 years ago. Until tomorrow, there are still flu in certain areas of the world. And I think we need to also understand that basically it is the level of hospitalization that the vaccine was meant to reduce, not that to stop you from getting the COVID-19 virus. It means that you will show symptoms, but your body will have enough immunity to fight that particular thing. That's number one. Number two,
that's not happening.
Yeah, because our people
are still dying.
Because people have underlying sicknesses that they will die anyway. Malaria is still the highest killer of people in Africa, as I'm talking to you. I think what we've missed is the point you make is this. Simply because you are vaccinated does not translate that you can abandon the intervention that are put in place. Because you may be vaccinated, but your people who are near you may not be. And some of them may have underlying conditions. And it's not only protecting yourself, it's protecting, because the mutation that we are seeing is essentially that of spread. If you had contained the virus, you would not have been able to mutate, because you would have been petered out at a point in time. But it keeps spreading, and we know that even the Omicron will not be the last mutation, whether we like it or not.
We have a fair idea. Now, going to international politics now, Judy, and if President Ramaphosa that tested, that had to, that has been as we tested positive again, and will this not validate what the Western world have been talking about us, saying that in handling COVID-19 we've been careless. They don't trust what we've done so far. They don't trust the measures we put in place to curb the spread of COVID-19. We've not tested enough. We've not shown capacity to really analyze the situation and get the people that are really spreading it. Maybe that's where the issue, what they have issues with.
But even in their country too, is spreading rapidly.
Seriously.
Manchester United players tested before the match with Norwich City. They tested negative. After the match, a good number of team officials and players have now tested positive. So how does one explain that? If they will blame us because Ramaphosa, after his double doses of the vaccine, eventually tested positive. The issue is what I've talked about earlier. We did not do, because I've not seen a vaccine is supposed to offer protection against contracting that disease. That is the essence. All I've known about vaccines, this is the thing. This is the way it works.
Oh, growing up, we took polio,
yes.
we took
so
yellow
it's
fever,
just like
we took
all kinds of vaccines at that time, chicken pox. It's just like saying now, yes,
vaccine.
After the no more. So it's just like saying, okay, you got vaccinated against polio, but don't be surprised if eventually you still you still succumb to the same polio. So that's not what we are saying. They didn't wait long enough, do extensive research that will ensure that the vaccines that will come up with, and the word was warned. It wasn't as if some scientists didn't warn that, look, there's not enough time. The world was in so much of a hurry to bring this vaccine just so that we can all return to our normal lives. Now we can see that the vaccines, yes, people. I know someone who got vaccinated here in Nigeria, the full dose. He still went to Europe to get vaccinated again, because the feeling that some people have is that, look, even though you are vaccinated in Nigeria, you have the documents and all that, that over there they will still doubt the fact that you got the right vaccine. You know, even those vaccines in terms of effectiveness, they vary. Some are more effective than others. Johnson and Johnson.
You know, also, I have Jubril calling us from Abeokuta, that's Ogun State.
Hello, good evening, BQ and Ayu. How are you?
Thank you for staying with us, Jubril.
Yeah, I said good evening, Ayu and
good evening.
We can hear you. Good evening. Good evening.
Go ahead.
I appreciate you guys for your input and contribution so far. But I one thing that has been baffling a lot of Nigerians regarding COVID-19. Evidence has shown that Nigerians and maybe Africans in sub-Saharan part of Africa have not been impacted by the COVID-19. What I think we should be doing more is what exactly is in our genes or in our DNA that has prevented us from having these challenges. So we can ask people to do more of those things. Vaccine good. I have taken my vaccine. But we have seen that even the vaccine is not preventing, people contracting COVID-19. So our government should do more regarding this. And equally those that are at the border posts, government should do more to ensure that we are able to sustain the integrity of the nation regarding whatever comes out of Nigeria. This is what has been affecting them, that has made people to keep on banning Nigerians from traveling. The integrity of whatever we are doing regarding COVID is not something that they are sure of. And this is one of what you need to look into. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's talk about the reciprocity in international diplomacy. Now that we have UK, Canada, and Saudi Arabia, and our own Hadi Serika is saying from tomorrow, that popular route, Lagos to London, and Canada and Saudi Arabia, they are going to stop airlines from those countries.
They are going to restrict them. Yeah, I don't think they were fair to us. Yeah. I would have expected that they will say, okay, in the light of the present realities, we are taking certain measures to keep our people safe. They can introduce extra measures. But to simply say, no, we don't want to see Nigerians, but your own people who are here, who could be infected as well, you do not see anything wrong in airlifting them, but you are saying no, don't visit. You are saying people who are applying for fresh visas, no more, this and that. It will seem like it's just a deliberate ploy to punish us. And every country wants to be respected.
This COVID that we are talking about?
Every country wants to be respected, feel respected. So if in international diplomacy, there must be mutual respect. No country wants to feel be treated like the kind of relationship between a golfer and a caddy. The caddy carries the bags of the cover of the golfer. All those is golf clubs. He carries it. The golfer does not carry any load.
Just be removing
so it's not a golfer caddy relationship. It's a relationship of mutual respect, and both Nigeria and these countries will lose if there are no flights coming from and to Nigeria from those countries. So now I believe that those nations have to sit with us and then agree on what measures we can take, to protect all of us. But not that you will just unilaterally say, okay, we don't want flights from Nigeria. You have no evidence as yet. If it's Omicron that you are talking about, there has not been sufficient cases of Omicron from our country to warrant this running around that we are seeing. Even Canada, countries like Portugal, they have far more cases. There are just few cases that you can count on your fingertips, and you are taking this extreme action against Nigeria. Of course, the country will feel that you've disrespected it, you have no regard for it, and they too can retaliate this kind of measure, and that's what we are seeing. Maybe this will now push all the countries concerned to sit with Nigeria and negotiate.
How is this related to Emirates? Because Emirates came back after months, and they are used to those, that route is very popular, busy,
very profitable.
Yes.
I think you have to understand, just like you just said, the element of reciprocity, basically. When you are dealing, there is a saying in Yoruba that you don't respect this finger until you have wiggle. And when this finger is paining you, is why you know that this finger is not useless. The same thing applies to the, because what people said, and I'm sure you and I feel the same way, is that it seems that there already a policy position prepared, waiting for Nigeria to walk into it. Because it was too soon, too harsh, and it doesn't follow the science. I will keep asking them, what exactly have we done that Portugal has not done? What have we done that China has not done? I think that banning us is the first step in protecting yourselves. Nobody give us answers. As far as the Emirates is concerned, you cannot have a very profitable route and then not allow other people to compete. So it happens to the one that died, this billionaire, I forgot his name, that instead of giving him a place in Nitro, they were giving him a place at Gatwick. And you know how far Gatwick is from city center. Same thing is applying to airpeace here. Yeah, they are taking them from the main airport to the regional airport.
Sarija.
And that means that automatically those using those flights will still spend more to get to city center.
They are not even saying they are not going. You are now you are limiting them to just three flights a week. So
you want to be running,
and you Nigeria agreed to 21
flights for
21 flights for you in a week. They agreed to 21 flights. You now said this three. They now said, okay, no, this is not right. Look at what we have given you. But those guys are, for 9 months, Emirates had been on this standoff with Nigeria. We now felt, okay, this had come to an end. But you are saying it has to be just 3. And they are saying, no, if we can give you 21, then give, this is our own airline now from our country. give them more frequencies. They don't want to do that. So Nigeria now said, okay, you will now have only one flight coming to Lagos. The other one will stop in Abuja.
And you know how busy that route is.
So
no, sometimes in life you just have to say enough is enough. No matter how small you are, you are
both of us will lose, whether they like it or
not. They even lose more because that is Nigeria's major route. Right. Once you change the way, we don't go back.
Moving on now. For Nigeria's main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, the road to redemption may still be far due to some Herculean tasks before the new National Working Committee, NWC. According to reports, the immediate past PDP NWC handed over 20 million naira cash and a debt of 290 million naira to the new leadership led by Senator Iyorchia Ayu. This in addition to crises in 9 state chapters, that's of Edo, Anambra, Lagos, Osun, Oyo, Ekiti, Niger, Kebbi, and Kano, and the entire Northwest chapter. Jide, Governor Iyorchia Ayu has inherited.
He has his work cut out for him.
Yes, he has inherited both the asset and the liability,
which is normal. The party has famously fallen short of completing its national headquarters.
Yes.
After all these years.
Yes.
You are in power for donkey years.
Let's even start from this 20 million naira. If you remember, our friend Kasim Afegwa was one that reported the former NWC chairman to EFCC because Kasim Afegwa was saying that the money they collected for nomination, cumulatively, presidential nomination, House of Rep, everything ran into. At the end of the day, this is just 2019, this is 2021. So how would they hand over 20 million naira cash?
Well, some matters are better, because I know what Kasim said is already subject of litigation. So there is a limit to which we can talk about that, so that it doesn't look like we are even validating what he's saying. These guys are saying that the staff, that the immediate PDP leadership, personal staff of the PDP leadership were entitled to 145 million per annum as housing allowance. So you can imagine 145 million naira as housing allowance. So they are saying that the immediate past acting chairman, Akinwumi, sought and got approval of the PDP Governors Forum to pay at least 1 year of the housing allowance, but the payment was curtailed by members of the NWC. So what they actually spend their money on, I wish I understand. But matters of the PDP, especially as they concern money, they are the ones who are best positioned to explain how money will come in, yet you can't complete your secretariat. I think that is a big shame. That after all these years, you can't complete. That's why even the APC continue to taunt them with that abandoned project. They've not been able to muster the courage and the will to finish that project. Then I was listening to the governor of Rivers State was telling Senator Iyorchia Ayu that if he observes that he's derailing, that he's going to shout. Wike will not wait until you derail before he starts shouting. Wike, the way Iyorchia Ayu manages Wike will determine the future of the party.
Okay, just hold on to your gunpowder there. We'll take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. Stay with us, please. Okay, let's let's leave their finances and just say the more you make,
there are bigger issues than financial.
So because this 290 million has debt, and understand. Now, I thought
I was saying that the way Iyorchia Ayu manages Nyesom Wike will determine the future of the party. Will determine whether the party will not self-immolate ahead of the 2020
because already
election.
There's this tendency to play the landlord of the party or the owner.
The owner.
There's
the
this
owner.
Yes.
Either he has his way or he will disrupt everything. Governors pleaded with him that these are middle past chairman. Secondus.
Just 4 more
He
months.
wants to go. He's not saying that he's not going. Just allow him to even resign.
Finish his tenure. Okay.
But he was more interested in disgracing him out of office. Secondus wanted to become the first PDP national chairman to complete his first term. No one in PDP history has successfully completed a first term in office as national chairman. You know? So, and he was close to completing the thing. By the time of the convention, you will have been able to replace him. The governors gave him the guarantee, but he was bent on making sure that
was punishing.
He kicked him out of office. So now he's telling Iyorchia Ayu that I will shout if I notice that you are derailing. He's already sending him clear signals of what to expect. So that when you consider what he represents, what he's been doing the last few years, and you bear in mind the crisis across the states, you then will understand why PDP has far more problems than the issue of money that the media appears to be playing on. How do they, if you cannot put your house in order, in Kano, you know, we have Kwankwaso is up against the former Minister of Foreign Affairs, Aminu Wali. You know, Mulika Takonde and the governor for your state,
Seyi Makinde.
They are wearing the same trouser. You know, in Anambra, even Osun and Kebbi, places where they are not likely to win the election, they can't even make peace. So, and how do you challenge the APC if you cannot put your house in order? The first thing you need to do to be in position to challenge the ruling party is to first put your house in order, make everyone
to be united,
jump in and fight that cause. But that's not what we are seeing.
A lot of people will argue that they've started well, in the sense that they've been able to cross the national convention.
The Rubicon, yeah.
And crossing the national convention, and the litmus test, the next one might be choosing a presidential candidate.
No, that's not the next step. That's the only test. This is just like...
and they will not refer you to APC that ordinarily to choose, you know, executive for the party.
Ordinarily to get to...
It's taking forever.
To hold the convention.
To hold the convention is taking forever, and that's...
Well, they have two different challenges, both APC and PDP. I'm sure we can talk about APC any other day. But for today, the challenge before the Ayu administration is how to navigate the presidential tickets. That is key. All this is just preamble. What we can do is letting them know that fine, allow the two things to go. One, to allow you to become party chairman, and two, that the presidential candidate can come from anywhere. Those 2 points, Wike will go down fighting. He has made up his mind about that. So the moment he sees Ayu pampering towards any other interest, Wike will come out and say his mind. That's why I said it's not yet Uru for PDP. The key here is that they have very giant egos that he has to placate. And these people have so much money, and all of them wants to be
and they can kick him out anytime.
So it's not really that safe. He's sitting on tenterhooks, and the only way for him to survive this is to take the middle road, and that to me in politics is extremely dangerous.
In fact, the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, told him that, look, you can be kicked out of this position anytime. So bear that in mind. All it takes is for these people to come together again. The governors literally own the parties, and they are showing it not just in the APC, but in the PDP as well.
That model. I think it's since 1999.
No, it was 2003, actually.
That gives the power to the governor.
2003, the Benedians and
it
was during Obasanjo's time. It was during Obasanjo's time.
Because I know that reverse was the case in the MPN, UPN days. There was nothing like
parties. The people owned the parties at that time, and the people would pay their dues. Yes, all the time. So the people used to sponsor candidates. The party used to sponsor candidates. Now the party will tell the candidate to go and look for money. After collecting huge amount of money from you, they leave you to go and handle the campaign, spend on your money on your campaign. You heard what the governor of Kwara said, you know. So when you now run the campaign on your own, spend your money, sell your houses, how does someone now come and be controlling you or trying to dictate to you when it was you brought yourself to power? Literally, you spent your money, you spent your way into office. They won't listen, because your moral hold on him has been loosened by leaving him to go and fend for himself. And so that is the thing.
Price, he paid it.
He's got to the PDP. Naturally, when the leadership was zoned to
Southwest,
to North,
we all felt that to the North, we felt okay, that could be the signal. But the other people said no. In this presidency, the ticket, everybody should be able to contest. So that's what we have. So people like Wike, they are interested in the presidency. But we still have people like Aminu Tambua, people like Saraki as well, who are also interested.
Even the governor of Bauchi State.
Yes, the governor of Bauchi State is also a key.
In fact, somebody was telling me that almost all the
second the resources
within the PDP
is the longest serving FCT minister in Nigerian history. So he has the resources.
So Mr. Ayu has a very big battle for them.
There's a lot of, let's look at Wike. Yeah, can you see him on the left?
Okay, I have Etu from Mina. That's Niger State. Thank you for staying with us.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you. I want to appreciate you, most especially Babajide.
Thank you.
We appreciate you because we really like what you are doing. And many of us here in the North, we want to be encouraging you and the TVC program, because anytime you talk about what is happening in the North, most especially what happened in Sokoto and Zamfara, many of us were happy. This issue of COVID that you are talking about, you said it, Babajide, it shouldn't be forced, do or die something. An issue of the flight, again, some of us, people are talking about insecurity, you know, you may not understand what is going on. I also want to appreciate you for talking about the issue of this party. For now, Nigerians are not interested in APC or PDP. What we are interested in is security issue of everybody we want to feel safe because of what is going on now. But Babajide, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution. So much. Because the way it is, okay, he said Nigerians are not interested in APC or PDP. But I think, unfortunately, the way it's going now, Jide, it's going to be 2022 in some days' time. From the look of it, I think we are stuck with these two parties. Yeah. There cannot be a miracle for somebody to emerge, because everything starts and ends next year. Almost. Do you see any other party just...
The point that he's making is Nigerians are more concerned about their survival now than even the party politics. Everyone is talking about their survival and insecurity. That's the point that he appears to be making. And the way it is, Nigerians will be ready to vote for candidates that they think will better serve them, you know. So, and that's the best thing. We should not be sentimental in picking our leaders. We've got to learn. Because in the past, we were sentimental in picking leaders. We use all kinds of sentiments.
Honestly.
No, at the end of the day, we've been made to look like a fool. We've got to pick people without sentiment, people who can get the job done. Don't vote for somebody who can't get the job done. Forget sentiment. Forget his religion. Forget where he comes from. Yes, look at someone who has capacity. Yes, somebody who has capacity. Capacity, you may have integrity, you may have good character, but you may not have capacity.
And that's the key.
So at the end of the day, you will not be able to. Yes, you must have capacity. Over there in Europe, and do they elect people who don't have capacity? No, they don't.
Final stretch on this, the PDP ahead of that election. There's this euphoria when it was 2019, some months before 2015.
Yeah.
As at that time, as a journalist, I felt it that something's about to change.
There was a win.
Yes, the momentum was gathering. Do you see this momentum right now?
No, not now. But like the caller said, it is those who have eaten that worries about which kind of fan they're going to use to sleep. First, you have to eat.
Survivor. Well, badly for survivor.
And it's getting worse by the minute. So my prayer is that the level of poverty that we're undergoing will not derail this democracy. Because it's getting to that level.
Poverty should not derail our democracy.
No, because you got to a point that people will
just take to the streets and
that's why when yesterday or 2 days ago the northern youth decided what to do about their situation. I told
there could be more protests in the coming days.
No distraction. Yeah.
Everybody is feeling it now.
So it's beyond.
It's beyond sentiment now. Did you see the Daily Trust editorial? In the past, no one will expect people will expect maybe Punch or someone else to write or Tribune. And if the Tribune did that kind of editorial, they will say, "Oh, these are Southern people. They hate the North, this and that." But here is the most prominent newspaper in the North, and one of the best in our country currently. You know, doing that kind of editorial.
They really did it on a Sunday, so you have time to read.
Okay,
that's time that we can read.
And finally, after 5 years of roller coaster ride on the Nigeria soccer scene, the bubble finally bursts for the Franco-German coach of the senior national team, that's Super Eagles, Gareth Roy. The Nigerian Football Federation, NFF, parted ways with Roy and announced former international defender Austin Eguavoin as the interim technical advisor. This was the position of Babajide and other guests when the debate over impact of Roy on the team came up for discussion in November. Let's share this with you.
But in the last 5 years, we've been watching the Eagles for patriotism's sake. That is our team, and we have no choice in this matter. But some will tell you that these are qualifiers, and you qualify the way you can. You cannot play beautiful football when you get to the World Cup proper. But the morning shows the day. If you don't have a team that has an organic center, something to hold them together, then you have no team. What we need now is to qualify first. Then we can now chase the elephant in the room when we get there.
Gareth Roy has overstayed his welcome. He's been in Nigeria for so long. He is eventually going to be the longest serving Super Eagles coach of all time. But what have we got to show for it?
That's the question.
West House spent quite some time, but he also delivered trophies, starting with the ECOWAS Cup that he won in Bauchi in 1989, December 1989. So what are the trophies that Gareth Roy
can show us for all the years that he's been coaching this team. Eagles need a better coach at this time who can really change the way we play, who can impose a style of play that we all can be happy about.
Not getting the desired results.
My biggest worry and my biggest fear under Kenneth Rowe is the fact that some people gave him this job easily. And that has brought Nigerian football to arguably its lowest ebb. And why do I mean the lowest ebb at this stage? He made mention of Otto Gloria. Otto Gloria came in 1979. We won the Nations Cup in 1918, the first time Nigeria would win the Nations Cup. And in 1980, when Nigeria won the Nations Cup, we had, good players. Come to Westerhoff. Under Westerhoff, players came from Europe, but could not break into the national team. John Fashanu was one of them. He could not break into the Super Eagles squad. Despite making a good name for himself in England or wheresoever in the world. But the team was crack. Today, it's a different kettle of fish entirely. Anybody can stroll into the camp, provided you play in Europe.
Whether we qualify for the World Cup or we don't, but the way it's looking, it's as if we're going to qualify. Kenneth Rowe cannot take us to the next World Cup.
No, it's just not good enough. It's not, even in Africa, it's not good enough. What has he won on this continent for us? He's unable to get these players to complement one another and deliver the goods. Then it's about time that we find a new coach. This coach who has failed on the African continent, we don't have to take him to the World Cup. They've got to find another coach. And there are coaches who can get this job done.
Last November, we actually set that agenda, and Nia was with us that time.
Definitely.
Yes, he's not joining us. Miyake. And Augustine Iguavoin. Apparently, how many days to the Nations Cup?
Less than 27 days to the Nations Cup, the biggest soccer fiesta in Africa.
So, what's the implication of the move by the Nigerian Football Federation yesterday?
Well, it shows how our football has gone down the drain, under Amadou Pinnick. When Pinnick was coming to office, Pinnick promised Nigerians scientific football. And when he got into office, he said they were going to get us a good foreign coach, an expatriate. And the basis of bringing an expatriate is to do the job better than those who are here, who are Nigerians. And that's why we bring expatriates into the country. After 1,955 days, Raw is the longest serving coach in the history of Nigerian football for over 72 years. No man living or dead, has been able to achieve that, except for Clemens Westerhoff, about 1,700 days or thereabouts. But in 5 years, what do we have to show for our football? As a journalist, I can't confidently tell you the Super Eagles first 11. That's how bad the team is. But let's go back in time. In 2018, I was at the World Cup in Russia. And what Kenneth Rowe and the NFF echoed the same thing was that we have the youngest team to the World Cup in Russia. After 2018, we had the 2019 AFCON tournament in Egypt. Algeria won the Nations Cup. They beat Nigeria. And even at the World Cup, questions were asked about how technically sound Raw is. We had to go back in time. After 3 years on the job, Raw was a journeyman in African football. He was sacked by the Stallions of Burkina Faso. He was sacked by Etoile Sportive du Sahel in Tunisia. And what the Nigerian Football Federation told us years back, I'm a journalist, I'm a reporter, and I won't forget easily, was that Arsene Wenger recommended Kenneth Rowe to Nigeria. But there is no foreign coach that has done badly as Kenneth Rowe in the history of Nigerian football. And with 27 days to the AFCON tournament, this is where we find ourselves. But the question I want to ask now is, on that Rowe in 5 years, the NFF never set up a technical committee. Will Iguavoin, as a Nigerian, get a technical committee that will vet his list henceforth? That's $1 million question.
Okay, Babajide, yes, when you are given an assignment, I know, Iguavoin, this is on a ad hoc basis. But I don't see any reason we should embark on this Nations Cup if we are not going to win it. Because the crop of players and everything. Now, do you see an Augustine Iguavoin delivering these goods?
No, he's been coach of the national team before. at least twice. What did he achieve with us? What is the evidence to show that he has brushed up his knowledge of the game? We see them put a technical team in place made up of people that you can't really vouch for their competence. So that's not even encouraging. Somebody who was banned by FIFA for match fixing, and
That's Samson Sasa.
no, Salisu Yusuf.
Okay.
He was banned. He served his term,
Okay.
and the first thing we thought we could do was simply to bring him back. You know, so Nigerian football has been going steadily down. I won't even totally blame Genatroa, because before Roa took over, we did not qualify for the Nations Cup for 2 competitions on the bounce, and he came. We were in a very tough group. The problem with Roa is not that he did not do well initially. He began to decline. He was in a difficult group
Challenge.
where you had Cameroon, where you had Zambia, you know, where you had Algeria.
the fire then.
We had Algeria, and he qualified. The same Algeria that he had beaten easily was the one that won the Nations Cup. The same Cameroon that he beat 4-1 has been beating Nigeria since then. So the team has been declining steadily, and there is no discernible pattern of play.
And it's not for
Then
lack of
countries,
superstars.
no, countries that ought not to beat Nigeria. How can Central African Republic be beating Nigeria? That's the evidence that, look, this team is on a free fall. I would have wished that we took this decision a lot earlier.
That's it.
But these people will not listen. We should have taken this decision a lot earlier, because at a point, maybe his players were no longer self-motivated. Because I don't see how a promising team could just suddenly begin to decline and be losing matches even to soccer minions on our continent.
I don't know. There was a time Amadou Shoabu said we didn't have the right set of players, and we evolve. We move past that generation, and we assembled new set of players. And with these new players, do you think an Augustine Ekwava will be able to maximize the potential of the Iyorchia?
If I'm even asked, I would want to ask, those who run football in Nigeria, where are the footballers? Who are the players? Yes, we have individual stars. We have individual players. But unfortunately, as a team, we've not been getting a track. We don't have a team, because we don't even have a first 11. And that's the worry. Now, you're giving a man this kind of assignment, 27 days to the tournament. You made mention of Amadou Shoabu. Let's take it back to the year 2013, when Keshi won the Nations Cup. After Keshi won the Nations Cup, there were issues between Keshi and this Nigerian Football Federation. In fact, I can confirm authoritatively that in 2013 in South Africa, in the dressing room, Keshi had to tell some board members of the NFF not to come into the dressing room at halftime, because they were distracting the team. We were to play against the Elephants of Cote d'Ivoire. The NFF thought we were going to lose. They were already buying tickets to come back home to Nigeria. But against all odds, we won the Nations Cup.
They thought the Ivorians were too good.
We're too good. Now, it took the intervention of the then president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, to reinstate Stephen Okechukwu Keshi after speaking to the Nigerian Football Federation. This is the same set of coaches you don't believe in. In 2015, Keshi was eventually sacked because they felt he applied for the job of the Elephant of Cote d'Ivoire. But take a look at our football since then. Nothing. But I would ask again, under a foreigner, we never had a technical committee to vet the list of players. I would wait and see if this Nigerian Football Federation board will come up with a technical committee. Keshi never allowed it. They fought Keshi. He never liked it. Let the coach take the blame. Nobody asked Raw. Raw said, I am the coach. If I don't do well, sack me. But despite the fact that Raw was the highest paid coach in the history of Nigerian football for 5 years, he had no targets going to the 2019 Nations Cup. Keshi was given a target, go and win the Nations Cup.
But he's being owed salaries.
It was old.
We hold Manfred Honor. Anyone that comes here as a foreign coach, we will not pay. The reason Vesterhoff survived for that long was because he had a personal relationship with the then #2 man, Ihomo. So he could walk up to him and ask for anything. We are owing this Genatura, we are owing him now. The same way we hold Manfred Honor.
Wow. Akiri, thank you for your contribution.
Thank
you. We wish that come January, something good
it will take
will happen during the next
I think we should even move beyond simply thinking that the coach is the problem. Because Philippa Truzet didn't succeed here in Nigeria, but he went to Japan and succeeded and took the team right up to the quarterfinal of the World Cup for the first time. But here in Nigeria, he did not succeed.
I mean, something is wrong.
When Ulysses said, I'm using Ulysses' words, there are witchcrafts in Nigerian football, not my words now. People didn't understand. When Ulysses realized he had been used
the management style.
He woke up too long.
Well, you can go on and on and on. Vicky, thank you for your contributions today. And that's all on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11. And don't forget to join us on Sunday for Journalist Hangout on Sunday. That's 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Zubaku. Bye for now. See you tomorrow.